This here looks like the all-new Toyota RAV4, but this one is a smaller one, the smaller brother, the Toyota Yaris Cross, in a new facelift here. And you can obviously see it is indeed a facelift for the SUV that is the most sold small SUV in Europe, also the most sold hybrid in Europe. So indeed a true bestseller. But what can it do here now in the facelift, and what are the changes here in the lounge trim? And also as a comparison, the GR Sport. We'll fill you in with all the details with Thomas and Autogefühl in 4K, full screen, full length. Let's go here with the new front, which has this vehicle color in the front grille and the honeycomb structure, just like the all-new RAV4. Metal bronze is this very distinctive, beautiful color, so that's pretty cool. And this is the biggest visual change. You also get updated lamps here and a new design, new styling, and you get LED or optional even matrix LED here in the higher trims. And this indeed then has this automatic high beam function that it can also save out some spots on the road. I will also show you how to activate that very soon. And the length at 4 meters 18 or 165 inches, so it's a very small compact vehicle. Starts with 16-inch steel wheels, and you can get to aluminum ones, also 17 and 18-inch. These are the biggest ones that are available. New stylings you can also see right here, for example. Crossover wheel arches, and indeed it has some significant ground clearance. So can also be used for soft off-roading. And here the Yaris Cross is also stamped then here in this side. It's a very nice detailed feature. You also have this dual tone design here for the roof, black contrasting roof. Then you have like this transition here to the metal bronze color. In the rear you have this somewhat integrated rear wing. Yeah, these gaps here, this is like a first prototype vehicle, so just to mention that, and they say that it will be better in the final series production version. You get front wheel drive or all-wheel drive, zoom more to the engines. Just to mention that this one here is a hybrid and also AWDI. What does it mean? That means you have an electric motor, an additional one at the rear axle to get then this all-wheel drive. Soon I'll also take the trunk measures for you. Quickly under the hood, because as I said, all-wheel drive here in this very version, but there are also the front-wheel drive base versions. Let's open that one. There we go. It beeps because we have the light on. So this one here is based on the 1.5 liter 3-cylinder engine, 116 horsepower, or here this is the higher spec with 130 horsepower. And the acceleration difference then is of course a little bit then between the smaller and the bigger version. Engine facts also in a separate data comment. And here with the all-wheel drive, it's a little bit slower than 11 seconds in the acceleration, 0 to 1 kilometers an hour. If you go for the front-wheel drive version, it's a little bit quicker actually, than a little bit under 11 seconds than here in the 130 horsepower trim. The lowest trim is also only connected to the lowest spec. So the higher specs automatically go here with the 130 horsepower version. And the GR Sport actually only goes with the 130 horsepower and the front wheel drive, because that's the quickest version. And the GR Sport, yeah, is supposed to be a sportier version, also with the sportier suspension setup and so on. And this one would be the most elegant trim here. Thank you so much everyone, by the way, for the recent or ongoing support. And you maybe cannot really understand, but you know, when I get the support from you guys and you know all the nice comments and so on, this really makes such a difference for me. Like especially like when we work a lot and so on, it really keeps the motivation high. So yeah, thanks again for all the nice comments. I really always appreciate that. Let's go with the interior here. First of all, door closing sound. Let's say this is a little bit more basic, not the thing that they pay most attention to. Then inside of the doors, so this is all hard pack. Then we have the, let's say it's a fabric covering, but it's hard underneath. This is new here, this decor element or decor, which fits a little bit to the metal exterior. And then classic window levers and so on, open, close, also easy to control the side mirrors. Nothing covered right here. And then we go to the steering wheel, which still has physical controls, like wheel buttons here. Right side also, for example, for the cruise control. And these are, by the way, already the larger 12.3-inch digital instruments. You start with smaller ones in the lower trims. And they're also base infotainment versions, and this one is also already the bigger infotainment. Then here the seats in the lounge trim has a nice fabric, feels nice here on the inside, and then you have the new Sakura Touch. This is a new leatherette material which actually consists of 40% bioshare, also like some like cork leftovers from production and so on. And it really feels very nice. And this is also then a second material here is like a brown fabric here, so they try to spice up the material life here a little bit and also to be more sustainable in the whole production chain. And then here, let's take a seat, and the cool thing is it's a tiny vehicle, but it already has quite good seats, and since it's no EV, also the feet are not too high actually, so it's actually a fairly good seating position. Steering wheel up and down, in and out, both is possible. And then headroom here with one A9, 6 for 2. Still some space left, and this one here actually has a very interesting solution to this glass roof cover. And here we go now with this spectacular effect. Watch that magic here. This is closed here, these are the covers, and then it says push, so I'll push. Ta-da! Ta-da! I mean, it's a basic function, but it's actually quicker than it would be electric. So why not? And this is the fixed glass roof here, still some headroom left here, and leaves a lot of light in, but you cannot open it for fresh air or something like that. Then to the dashboard, cockpit area and so on. This is here actually both soft touch, so that's nice. Also this new, decorative element here, this is also nicely structured. Then slowly going down with the glove box. In the middle part, it looks like this, automatic shifting lever. Inductive charging pad is here in the front. It's not ventilated though. I like 2 USB-C chargers. I would prefer that. And also, pretty fancy here, these retro buttons for the seat heating. And they also stay in place when you shut down the vehicle and start it again. Also physical dials here for the climate unit, for example, and for the fan speed. Infotainment would start 9-inch. This is already bigger, 10.5-inch. And here, for example, visualization, how you get the energy back in the battery. Most of the time you would probably use Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and there's also a decent integration. And here, by the way, on this side of the seat, this fabric material is called Samara. So Sakura and Samara. Beautiful names, right? Push to normal, off-road modes, and the side. You can use these cup holders here. They are not adaptive though, and you can make yourself like some space here with folding up the armrest when I fold it back again. Yeah, this material should be a little bit better from the quality. Inside is also some storage, but if you put stuff like this in there and then you fold it up, it of course like flies around inside the console. Well, and the rear seats here. I mean, it's a tiny vehicle, so there's not much space left for the legs when I'm driving. They've made more of this nice Samara material here at the back of the seat, and the Sakura material once again. So seat material is actually the highlight of this vehicle. And then here, yeah, I mean, I could still fit in here like barely. That would somewhat work for 4 toy adults, but you see it's of course limited. But once again, more of this matte Sakura Touch leatherette here in the middle part, and the fabric on the inside. Isofix on the seats outside each. Also has a registration for a 5th passenger, but I don't see that much space-wise. And inside of the doors in the rear is all the way hardback, and you see it doesn't open too wide. So for installing child seats and for accessing it, maybe for elderly people, it's a little bit tough then. And one more secret thing here, when you fold down this middle part here, there's like a ski hatch to the rear, it stays open. Then you also have some hidden cup holders here. That's an interesting idea, and it's also designed in a way that the cups are still upright then when you have it here on this seat bench. That's a good idea. Let's check out the trunk. 320 or 400 liters, depending if you have the all-wheel drive version or not. This one here also has an electric hatch. Manual one would be the standard one. Interesting that this top cover here is on the one hand wobbly kind of, but some also pointed out that when you have something in the back here and it's maybe a little bit higher, it's also being kept tight then by that when it's a little bit higher. So it's maybe pro and con, but of course not the most, let's say, not the most elaborate solution, and it's also a little bit, yeah, complicated to remove that thing always like that. Oh, but maybe we can use it then like when there's like a lot of sun, maybe like for filming, to have like some shade, maybe like this, you know. Interesting. And this is here the full setup, and we have a width of about 1 meter or 40 inches. Normal length is about 31 inches or 80 centimeters. And then we had this, what I showed you earlier, this ski hatch in the middle. Other than that, you can also fold like this from here. But you can see here, when I'm driving, it doesn't really fit then from the size. There we go, and even here, so I would have to move the seats forward first to that these ones go fully down. I can soon do that. But here, the full length into the seats is 85 inches or about 1.50 meters. Now about the height, it depends then here. Underneath, for the all-wheel drive version, there's some storage right there. It's also not, fully covered in the lower part, and there's more space in the front-wheel drive version. I can soon show you that as a difference, and this one doesn't have like a lower step, so to speak. And so here then the height for the all-wheel drive version is at 28 inches or 70 centimeters. And as a second vehicle, we have here the GR Sport trims, the other high trim here in Celestial Grey. It's a very beautiful color, and it also has this new integrated honeycomb structure grille with the same vehicle color as the rest of the body color, so looks pretty cool. And also more honeycomb scheme here with the GR Sport badge in the lower part, so here you have then the sportier look. I think this is really nicely done from the visual. Also the top 18-inch wheels here in a different styling, for example. I really like this color because it has like, let's say, like blue nuance to it, this gray indeed. And the rear is also a little bit different, also sportier, maybe a little bit more high class in that case then, because we have the honeycomb structure then here on the inside and the GR Sport badge. This one is only available with the 130 horsepower version front-wheel drive because it is the best in the acceleration. And there are also, of course, other front-wheel drive models available, and they are in a way more practical if you don't need off-road situation and so on, because here you have the larger trunk. You have the split here, 1/3, 2/3, and you can move it lower, then you have this lower step and you have more in height. That is the main difference. Or you can also take them out completely, and then you just have the most spacious trunk there is for the Yaris Cross. And now the GR Sport interior. Main difference, the seats. Here they look like integrated head restraint, but it's actually a separate head restraint. Then we have microfiber on the inside, leatherette on the outside. So they look actually pretty cool. Also here with the perforation, red background then and so on. And they're actually also nice to look at, but I have to say they're not bad at all or something. But the seat comfort, like in the sit bone area underneath here, is better with the fabric seats in the lounge trim. So this is here a little bit stiffer, this seat definitely. It's the sportier version. More red contour stitches, for example, here on the inside. Also here the shifting lever. The same also with the red contrast at the inside of the steering wheel, for example. You have perforation on the outside, GR Sport badging, and here even, for example, on the floor mats, there are the GR Sport badges. By the way, in 2025, this one here was also the most sold Toyota model overall in Europe, 200,000 pieces, and will continue to be that way. So in the facelift before, they already did all the things that are basically under the hood, like the upgrade for the engine and also NVH improvements and so on. In this facelift now, really rather is the visual part, with the face and so on. And now it's basically completed, this facelift. And the thing is that this vehicle is actually pretty small, but still has enough space on the inside and just delivers like a good price performance package. Pricing will remain more or less the same, so between 28,000 euros entry and to some 40,000 euros if you go like really high spec everything in. What do you think about this facelift here of the Yaris Cross? Tell me in the comments. And now check out the next little bit bigger brothers.